Hey, thanks for watching. This is the deep space mining rig, Dirty Money. It currently has the auto descent drill attachment in place. This has been tested to a drill depth of 1 kilometer, and it will also auto retrieve itself. Here's the main button panel for drilling. We have down, which will just start the down process, start the drill. Stop cycle, it'll stop the cycle just so that it doesn't repeat itself. It will continue its current operation. And then we have up, and this will start the retrieval process. Pistons on off will stop the pistons. So if you need to stop the whole drilling process, that'll do it, and it can restart it too. That'll stop the pistons and the drill heads. This upper section will separate from the lower drill platform. So you can use the upper section as a mobile base. You have those controls right here to disconnect the upper half from the lower half. The hull will rotate 90 degrees. That is set up with merge blocks and rotors and connectors. So you can weld this in survival. It'll weld up without the connectors in place, so you have to come in and put the connectors in. Just make sure that before the connectors connect, that the rotors are set to negative 20 centimeters on the head displacement. Both sides need to be set to negative 20 degrees before the connection is made. There's an event controller that will automatically connect the connectors when they're ready to connect. So you may have to turn that off temporarily to get the connector in place. But just make sure that the rotor head displacement is set on both rotors, which they're both marked as the hull rotation rotors, to negative 20 degrees centimeters. Once it connects and they're locked in place, go in and set each hull rotor to its respective new position, which is labeled on the rotor itself. Well, I say that in the labeling, in the name of the rotor, it's labeled. One side will be set to negative 18 degrees centimeters, and the other side will be set to negative 22 degrees centimeters. And so when you do a search for rotor and hull, it'll bring those two rotors up, and again, they're labeled as such in their names. I've added a few things. I've added the new ore detector. I added an algae farm or whatever it is on top. Go inside. So I have the doors set to automatically close after 1 second. So yeah, make sure you don't depressurize the place like I just did. I added a food processing station here that's connected in the galley, so it's not really as useless as it used to be before. I added the water irrigation here as well. If we go downstairs real quick, we have the bunks, 6 bunks, cryo chambers for 3. And then here we have all our tech stuff, event controllers and whatnot you can have access to. And then I also added the farm. or a small farm. Um, yeah, so this is pretty cool. I want to point out though that if you do the whole rotation, you will kill your crops, because for some reason when you do the whole rotation, it for some reason it decompresses all the air vents. I'm not sure why, even though all of my O2 generators are on this grid, it still decompresses the hull temporarily, like for a split second. So that will kill the plants. We have our little med bay here. We have the airlock on the other side to go out to the other little landing area that you can land a boarding skiff. Yeah, so that being said, let me go down and harvest the crops for the first time. First time I've done this. Alright. Awesome. So now we can come up here and we can trigger the whole rotation. I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as a little glitch. I'm going to trigger the whole rotation from here. So it did it at the beginning and at the end when it remerges. As soon as we get there, we have that little moment there, which will kill your crops. And again, I'm not sure why the oxygen tanks and the O2 generators are both on this grid. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, or if they'll fix it. All right, gonna rotate us back here. And before I forget, before you start the auto retrieval process in the drilling portion, you have to make sure that the connectors and the drill shaft is empty. Because what can happen as you're grinding off, you can end up with temporary containers on top of your the drilling shaft, and which isn't a big deal, I guess. But if you say you're drilling down and you just stop, and then you retrieve a section up, and then try to go back down, if there is a temporary container laying on top of the merge block as it tries to go back down, it won't weld up the final merge block in the first section of drill shaft, and so it won't connect and it'll drop the drill head. So yeah, just before you start the up process, just make sure everything has been emptied. Also, the pistons have a harder time lifting the drill head and drill shaft when they're full. You can increase the impulse on the pistons in order to get them to lift it when it's full, but I was trying to keep them somewhat at their regular settings. It has a maximum capacity event controller in place, so that when all the containers hit 90%, is what I have it set at, it stops the piston and the drill process. It will also open or turn this sorter on, which will allow ore to go into this cargo container, which is not included in the 90% cargo list, if that makes sense. So all the other containers are in my maximum capacity event controller, my cargo capacity event controller, except for the container in my base, which is separated by a sorter, and this bottom container. Again, when they all hit maximum or they're 90%, it opens this sorter, which allows the remaining ore that may be in the head and the drill shafts to go into this cargo container. I don't have it set to drain all because I'm not sure if it'll react the way that I want it to, so I don't know if there's a better way to set this up. This sorter just allows flow out of the box. So if you were to put drain all on this, it would create a loop. Again, I don't know if there's a smarter way. I kind of did that at the last minute to try to help with the solution of it. Basically trying to fill every sorter, connector, anything that has storage in it, it tries to fill when it gets full. So I was trying to avoid that. Someone knows of a better way or has any solutions, I'd love to hear it. Again, I just kind of threw that together. Not a whole lot of thought. Okay, I'm going to go through the action bar setup now. If you push up or number 1 on the action bar, up on console, you have the gyros that do the auto lever, and you can turn those on and off. And so when you come into 0 gravity, they automatically switch off. They don't switch back on in the atmosphere. You can do that manually. We should have the hydrogen thrusters on and off is 2, atmospheric thrusters on and off is 3, or left and right respectively for console. And then number 4 is landing gears up and down. And so I have this also configured on the action bar in the same way. Alright, console, switch over to page 2. Up is the drill camera. Left is selecting the drill head tool, and right is stopping the pistons, starting and stopping the pistons if you have to, and then down is stopping the cycle. All right, page 3, or on second action bar for PC users. Let's see, number 1 is hole rotation. Number 2 is your thrusters 0%. Number 3 is thrusters at 100%, like if you're coming out of gravity. And then number 4 is just turning your landing gear hinges and pistons on and off, because they'll vibrate or shake sometimes for some reason. So you can turn those off and on to get rid of that shake. And then let's see, this number 5 or up on the 4th action bar is the camera from merging the base to the attachment. And then left is the turrets on and off. Right is the connector for the attachment, locked or unlocked. And down is the merge block group for the attachment. So this will unmerge the upper half from the attachment. And that's number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on action bar number 2 for PC users. And that's all that I have set up on this. We will activate the hole rotation, so you can see that happens. So that would be up page 3 for console, or 1 action bar 2 for PC users. And there we are. Now we're set into this position where you can kind of drive it, steer it forward. Notice that, but now our bridge is facing forward. Turn the lights on and off, turrets, and stop our drill from here as well, but we cannot start the drill from here. I don't have that set up. I chose not to do that. From here you can turn the lights on and off, cabin pressure, turrets on and off, and then switch from light mode, dark mode, or you can turn the lights completely off. Then we have this. Yep, and you can depressurize the cabin from here. Alright, so I'm going to trigger this again. This is going to rotate us into the other orientation. And I would really like to know why it does that. The oxygen tanks and the O2 generators are on this grid, so it doesn't really make sense. Sorry, let me switch that back. Just one more time, so you guys can see that happen. And also, because I forgot to show you the elevator. So the little elevator that I have below the hangar doesn't work whenever it's in the other orientation. Have it to where it switches that off because it doesn't line up with anything. Alright, all the doors that go into airlocks I have set up to close at 1 second. Here's a little airlock to get into the hangar. I have like a little locking weapons cabinet, you know, manuals for your guns, ammunition and whatnot. And then from here we can depressurize the hangar and open and close the hangar doors. Do that, and it'll also trigger the broadcast controller to tell you that the hangar. Oh, okay, so the hangar was already pressurized. So let's depressurize the hangar. All right, so the hangar's depressurized, and then I can open the hangar doors. If you want to, you can depressurize the airlock and then go out, but honestly I never worry, and then I get it never worry about it, but then I get hangar doors are open signal also broadcasted. Alright, so then down below there is our deck, and you in space you can jump there, but if you know you're all into like, you know, no jetpack mode, or say simply you don't have fuel for whatever reason, to get into the hangar while on Earth's or Earth-like planet, when you're affected by gravity, you have no fuel, then you have to get up to the ship from the ground. You can do that. All right. So this only works with the ship in this orientation also. So if you come down and trigger this, it just simply won't work. Wait here for a little while. It's going to depressurize the hangar for us because this door is going to open automatically whenever the step back, so you can see whenever the elevator gets up to the top. It takes a second. It'll stay open for a second or two, but when I jump down through here, it triggers a sensor that activates the elevator, and then the elevator is actually what opens the door. And this will bring us down. we go. And this can be triggered just by simply standing here for longer than 2 seconds maybe. And this guy will go up. And so if you do this, build this in survival, you'll have to build this yourself. It's not too terribly complicated. Just look at, look at it in creative mode and figure it out. And then this will automatically reset. I have a timer block that resets it. Honestly, I don't think you'll have to do oh yeah, you'll have to put the hinge rotation in the timer block. So take a look at that in creative mode in the timer block. Just think it's got the elevator prefix, LEEV. So if you type that in, that should bring up everything elevator related. It's not complicated. All right, then so from here, oh, I can fall down in the hole. If I can fall down in the hole. Oh, come on. All right, barely land on this. And the reason it doesn't go over any further is because a merge block. I think this would, the grading would merge to that otherwise. So that's a little bit of a bummer there, but whatever. All right, so you come down here, and then here we have our setup for the drill platform. All right, so now we're going to go back up. I'm just going to cheat, go back up to the top. We have a little landing. I can fit my boarding skiff in here pretty snugly, but it works. Again, you can depressurize and pressurize the airlocks from out here. There you go. Alright. So I'm going to trigger the whole rotation one more time, just to demonstrate. Yeah, see, it did it again. Does it when you press it too, I guess. And then we're going to hop in the control seat here, and we're going to fly it into Earth's gravity so you can see how this works. So now this is forward for us. The merge blocks connecting leaves those fun little artifacts for some reason. Get this up to the terminal or whatever, max speed. Alright. So now we're flying towards Earth. Oh, okay, and we just hit 0.05 gravity, which automatically triggers the whole rotation for it to go into the Earth or gravity orientation, whatever, however you want to refer to it as. Alright, so now we're making our drop to the surface, and so when you come out of gravity, I don't have it set up to trigger the other way. You can just do that manually at your convenience. You could put it in the gravity thing, but I chose not to simply have it as a choice, because you can have it set up like this, like a little space base just outside of Earth's gravity well, or you can fly it around like a ship. So I left it to be chosen by the captain at the time. Alright, so we're gonna descend to Earth, and then I'll show you landing and all that stuff. Alright, cool. See you on the surface. Alright, so we are, takes about 700 meters to stop it with no payload, keep in mind. So you may want to test that if you are carrying some weight. You know, I've never honestly tested what this thing can carry. But it definitely cannot pick up the drill attachment when it's full. So just keep that in mind. I didn't really make it as such. I do have the longer drill attachment, which I'll be releasing soon, that can pick up its entire capacity, which I think is like 40,000 metric tons. I think this I think I've seen it around 32,000 metric tons, although I'm not sure what it tops out at on its own. Alright, so here we are. Alright, so now we're floating above the surface. I'm going to go down to the other helm. I guess you can use this to fill up your oxygen tanks now, I think. That's not, if I'm not mistaken. Open the doors or something like that. So now every time we open the doors, it fills up our oxygen. I think that's how that works. Alright, so here at the other helm, we have our signal lights, which you can't really see, I guess, in the daytime, but whenever our altitude reads 100 meters, it triggers the proximity alarm, and we get our red flashing light for 10 seconds. We get our proximity siren, and then whenever we get down, oops, a little too fast there, but whenever our mag plates are ready to lock, we get the yellow flashing light, and then now, okay, now we're parked. Just wait for the crashing sound. Okay. And then we can start our drilling process, which I'm not going to get into in this video. I'll do another video. This video is already long enough. Thanks for checking it out. Again, this has been tested down to 1 kilometer. I have a video showing that. It took about, is this the hole? This might be the hole. No, this is a different hole. It took about 7 hours to do that, to go down to 1 kilometer and then retrieve itself. I literally went out and smoked a brisket. It wasn't until I went to sleep later that the PlayStation actually shut off, so it was interrupted, but I just logged back on and started back up itself. No issues. And continue drilling. Oh man, I've got some pretty cool stuff that I've done with this bike. I've got another version you guys should check out if you're into this kind of stuff. I've created a I've added an antenna, a projector, and I even debated on adding a reactor, but I figured if you have uranium, then why are you riding around on the motorcycle unless it's for fun? So I didn't put one on there. This isn't the other version, but you could easily drop a reactor on there and ride indefinitely. And I created a solar blimp, if you will, and I have another solar, what I'm referring to as a solar eagle. My wife wants me to call it eagly. It's basically a giant solar aircraft that, as long as the sun's out, it can stay up using pretty much no power, and also it has like a hydrogen engine on it, so you could, and a nuclear reactor also. You could fly it at night also if you wanted to. But the idea was to create a craft that you could fly in the daytime, and with charged batteries, you could fly into the night a little bit. But you know, the idea is you stay charged during the day. Um, and the thinking behind that was to have a craft that could follow my enduro bike and charge it during the night, because I want to do a video of riding the enduro bike all the way around the planet. So yeah, hopefully I can do that soon. Check that out. Thanks for watching. This thing was a lot of fun to make. It came out really cool, and in fact, it started as just something on a whim, not even really with much thought into it. But yeah, and look forward to the other attachments that I have coming. And yeah, see you guys soon. Thanks.